Hey neighbors, tax season is almost here. And did you know if your household earned less than $84,000 in 2025, you qualify to file your taxes at no cost through United Way's Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, or VITA program. Maximize your refunds and save on filing fees. Get free tax prep from United Way and keep more of what you earn. Visit UnitedWayFileFree.com to learn more. Today on CityCast Nashville, let's talk about the real dining crisis in 2026. Restaurants are way too loud. You can't even hear the waiter or your own thoughts. If you miss enjoying a meal and a conversation, CityCast Nashville food and travel contributor Margaret Littman is here with her favorite quiet restaurants in Nashville. Spots where the food is good, and so is the volume. It's Thursday, February 19th. I'm your host, Marie Cecile Anderson, and this is what Nashville's talking about. I'm 44 years old, folks, and when I go out to a restaurant these days, I want two things. Number one, I want to have an amazing meal. Number two, I want to have a great conversation with my friends and get some spicy drama. But these days in Nashville, most restaurants are way too loud. I can't hear a freaking thing. What's going on?
I mean, I agree with you. And I also worry that I'm kind of turning into my mother when I'm like, oh, I don't want to go there. It's too loud. I do think that part of, I don't know if it's a trend, but restaurateurs and chefs want to have a vibe in their restaurant. They want it to have buzz. They want it to feel like it's somewhere people want to hang out. And so there is music, and they do try to make it not too quiet. It's weird how much I've thought, since we decided we were going to do this, how much time and energy I've put into like what quiet means. And when you start to think about it, when I was asking people about their favorite quiet restaurants and stuff, you don't want places that are quiet because nobody goes there, right? You don't want places that seem like, oh, well, it's quiet because it's about to close. And so I do think that's the reason why a lot of restaurants do kind of build that buzz. But it is then very hard to, hear the tea from your friends or take your parents to dinner, or even, I mean, sometimes I just want to sit at the bar and clear my head. I do think there are options, but definitely it's way more complicated than I originally thought it would be.
Well, so what makes a restaurant quiet and not boring?
Well, I do think there are a number of restaurants that have put some effort into the acoustics. I know Taylor has really put a lot of thought into the acoustics there. And they relatively recently opened, I think they're calling it like the living room bar. So a bar that's open to the public, even if you don't have a reservation in the dining room. And the whole idea there is supposed to be, I guess, that you're Vivek's living room. So it does have a vibe that feels fun, but you could still, it's kind of an intimate dinner party, so you could still talk to people. So I think there are places that are super intentional about that. One of the other places I was thinking about is Pastis, which no one would call a quiet restaurant. It's pretty loud, but it's way less loud at brunch and lunch than it is at dinner, but it's not necessarily less crowded. And so I do think that there has to be some intentionality in what music they're playing, or the level of music they're playing, or maybe it's fewer people sitting at the bar, but it's definitely a different decibel level. Particularly if you're in some of those booths, you can still hear your guests, but kind of look out, see the buzzy restaurant, hear the server. I guess there's a restaurant in town I don't want to mention, a restaurant that I think has good food, but every time I've been there, I can't hear what the server's saying.
Wow.
I literally could be ordering anything. I don't know. And I don't get that.
Well, so you're Margaret Littman. You have a reputation in town. Would you ever ask them to lower the music?
Oh my gosh. I don't think I would.
Right.
Although I definitely have been with my parents when my mom has. Geez, would I? That's a philosophical question. I don't think so. I think I might try to be proactive and say, hey, can I not sit by the speakers, or can we not sit by the band, or whatever? I might try to do something like that. I don't think I would ask someone to turn down the music unless I had like a private room or, something like
Right.
that. But if I were just going to eat, no.
Yeah, I definitely don't think I would either. But my mom just got a hearing aid, and it actually has like a restaurant setting. I can see still she's just trying so hard to hear us, but there's so much buzz and stuff. So I think I might advocate for her to ask ahead of time, please don't sit us by the speakers, because then she'll just have a miserable time. And I am intentional about where we go now too, because of this new hearing aid.
It does make a difference. And for us, it's our parents, but it's not just our parents. There are plenty of people in plenty of age ranges. Again, in Nashville, a lot of people who have worked in a lot of loud venues who don't have great hearing. And so I would hope that, maybe this is something that restaurant owners, and I do think, going back to the example of Taylor, and I thought about some other examples, I do think some of the restaurants that have had interior design firms that specifically work with restaurants might be more ahead of the game than, some smaller restaurants that understandably are doing things on a budget and tack up some ceiling tiles and hope for the best.
Oh, right. Well, Bad Idea comes to mind as like very intentional design. And they have that section of couches. And that's the only time I've been. But my girlfriends and I just hung out on the couches, ordered a bottle of wine, and had a spicy conversation. And we could hear everything.
That is a great example. Yeah. But you also would say, like, it's not one of those places where you think it's too quiet or nobody's there.
No, there's still a great vibe.
That is a great example. So I was kind of thinking about places in different kind of categories.
Ooh, okay.
So I often am interviewing people for articles, and we'll meet for lunch. And so I was thinking, okay, where have I interviewed people where I don't end up with, music in the background of my recording? I think Thistle Farms Cafe on Charlotte, that is a great place where you can have a conversation. It's not particularly loud. Also, they have a lot of different configurations of tables and a lot of spaces. So that's one I like. I think both places at the Hermitage Hotel, both Druzy and Dar and the Pink Hermit, are good options. The Pink Hermit is somewhere I like to go before TPAC. A lot of times if I'm going out with a friend, we want to have a conversation before we're not able to talk in the theater.
Oh, I've never been.
Oh, it's great. It has like a very, I don't know, almost New York City vibe. Like it feels like you're in a city, and it's a quick menu. It's not like the Druzy and Dar fine dining menu. Do you ever go to Chateau West?
We go there all the time. We went there for Thanksgiving one year. Yes, it's my mom's favorite. Why? Because it's quiet.
It's quiet. So I feel like that's often kind of overlooked by people. Obviously has its regulars, like apparently your family, but I think it is pretty quiet in there. And it seems sort of weird to me with that high ceiling. I would think the acoustics would be terrible.
I feel like they're definitely catering towards the older crowd because you do go in there and there's, it's the people from West End, from Belmead, so they know their clientele.
Another West Side place, Miel, is fairly quiet. Again, doesn't feel like it's quiet because no one's going there, but it has a nice vibe. It's a nice date night or conversation place. It is funny because I feel like often when we talk or when I'm working on other things, I mostly have a list of East Nashville places. And I feel like a lot of my places on this list are not East Nashville, although I have a handful. But one of the West Side places is Rose Pony. So Cafe Rose is definitely not quiet, and that's part of the vibe. I mean, you can hear who you're talking to in part because it's so close and cozy, but it's definitely a little bit louder. But Rose Pony, I think, is a great place for a conversation. Several people mentioned Avo.
Oh, I don't know Avo.
It's vegan or plant-based. It's over in One City.
Ooh, kimchi spring rolls.
So that could be a good place to add to the list.
And an avocado margarita. Okay, Avo.
There you go.
That looks beautiful.
And then I did come up with a handful of East Side places. Vegas Shawarma, I think, is a great one. I think both Sky Blue and Sibel's are good options. Particularly Sibel's, I think, is a nice kind of intimate place. People play cards and that sort of thing in there. And
Oh, this is reminding me of Lou that used to be right across the street. And that was a nice, quiet place for brunch.
it was. But I also am pro Curry Boys, so I'm okay with the whole thing.
Nashville, are you ready to take the plunge for a really great cause? The Music City Polar Plunge for Special Olympics Tennessee is happening February 28th at Nissan Stadium, and we want you to take the leap. This one-of-a-kind fundraising event invites the bravest souls of Nashville to jump into icy cold water so athletes with intellectual disabilities can experience the joy of sports, teamwork, health programs, and year-round competition. So grab your friends and family and start a team together. Turn your courage into impact. And listen, if freezing water isn't your thing, you can still join and cheer on this year's plungers. It's going to be a full-blown party with food trucks and really good vibes. Every dollar raised helps support more than 18,000 Special Olympics Tennessee athletes across the state. Ready to make a splash for a life-changing cause? Register, donate, or learn more at polarplungetennessee.com. That's polarplungetennessee.com. Take the plunge, change a life. My favorite bar, I talk about it all the time, Robert's Western World. But I went on a date there recently and it was so horrible. Why? Because I couldn't hear him at all, of course. Where would you recommend going maybe on a first date where you are learning new information, where you do want to hear music maybe, but not to that extreme?
So it's not music, but I think Schulman's in East Nashville would be a good first date place because it's a bar environment. Sometimes they have music, but you could still hear each other. And again, there's sort of that inside-outside covered spot.
That's a great suggestion.
Which I think would be good. When I was asking my friends for their picks for this, a number of people suggested Cafe Intermezzo, where I have not been in a long time. I mean, I'm going to go now that so many people suggested it, but I have a feeling that might be an okay date spot. Maybe East Side Bowl.
Ooh, yes. Actually, that's a great suggestion. As long as you get there before the music starts.
Right.
You know, I mean, I think it's funny because we're Nashville and we want to see music, but you do want to have those conversations as well. Well, where would you recommend for, say, like business meetings?
So Etch in Green Hills is one.
Love Etch.
I have not done this, but I'm told that if you request table 17, that's like that's the private booth that's kind of around in the back of the bar. So that can be a good spot for a date or for, if you want to have a business conversation. I think Anatolia on Whitebridge, that's a decent place to eat and also sort of a decent talking level. There are a number of places that it really depends on what time of day you go.
Mm-hmm. I definitely have learned, obviously we've talked about lunch, but I'm a nice 4:30 kind of gal these days. I did go to Groceries, etc., the new bar above Mama Bread, where then I got to try Mama Bread for the first time at the bar. Oh my goodness. But
wait, back up. You can eat Mama Bread at the bar?
Yes.
Stop.
Yes, you can. They have.
How did I not know this?
Oh, yeah. I went with our, Jessica Pearson, a friend of ours. I went and met her there at 4:45. And on the chalkboard by the bar, they have, little bites. But yeah, you can get their bread. And so we had a cocktail and Mama Bread and the butter. And we specifically went at that time because Jess said, it's going to get super loud and super crowded. It was getting loud, but because the tables are so close, I could hear our neighbors' conversation as well.
Noted.
Yes.
I don't mind having some, hearing some ambient conversation, because if you want complete quiet, you're going to meet someone at your house or their house or whatever.
Right.
So I'm fine with
a silent
that.
retreat.
I think that Oak Steakhouse is one of those places that if you go at 4:30, you could have a quiet business dinner. I think they even have sort of a like business at the bar menu, but the later it gets, the louder it will be.
Where's your favorite spot to go and read a book or catch up on proofing one of your articles?
East Nashville Barista Parlor. That is somewhere where, yes, there's ambient noise, but you can also have a conversation. You can also concentrate. And it's one of those places where you can be there for a long time and no one cares. We already talked about Thistle Farms Cafe. That's a good one. There are a number of places when it's warmer that I like the patio. So like Cafe Babu, the inside is not quiet, but it still feels kind of cozy. And then the patio is a good place to sit and read. Pharmacy, not inside, but the beer garden, I think is another.
Love the beer garden there. Mm-hmm.
Another good one. I haven't done this because I went for the first time sort of end of season, but when the weather warms up, I think Super Normal. I really love their burgers and fries and shakes. I guess that's Sylvan Park. And they have a nice kind of patio, grassy patio. You could have a dog there, and I can see that being a good place to sit and work. I mean, there's nothing wrong with sitting in the little enclosed pavilion at Grill Shack.
Oh, cute.
On East Nashville. That's a good. Now I'm like telling people all the places I hide away that they can find me. So.
Well, is there any place in town that feels like a warm hug?
Oh, man, that is a great question. I know exactly what you mean. I'm curious about Potluck. It's a pottery place and a tea house on Gallatin in East Nashville. And I think that might be kind of cozy. In Donaldson, Troll Cottage, which is a place a tea place. That'd be kind of a different kind of hug, but I think it's very cozy. I think there are a number of hotel restaurants that have those nice spaces. Yolan at the Joseph is one that has, and they're not, huge rooms, but they're kind of nice, cozy rooms. So Yolan has a nice one. The Hutton has some nice ones. Henley at the Kimpton, that has a number of really kind of cozy, quiet spaces. Actually, that little kind of back space at Henley, I kind of think that is a hug. It has these leather upholstery, and it's really dark in there, and you can still see the front room with the bar and the big windows, but that back room at Henley I would consider.
Well, a big trend we're seeing in town is like DJ nights at restaurants. Can you recommend a place where maybe a live DJ will be, but it won't hurt my ears? Is that a trend you're into, Margaret?
I have
DJ night.
That is not really my jam.
I know they were doing that at Sean Brock's restaurant that closed.
Yeah, the Continental. I mean, that place was a hug. Yeah, I do think more places are doing that kind of DJ vibe, but I don't know if I know where would still be sort of moderate.
Like you said at the very beginning, these interior designers are being brought in to help maybe with the acoustics. Like, is that really a trend only with high-end places, or just us average folks? Can we get some nice interior designs that keep our the decibels low?
I haven't officially researched this, but I do think when you're talking about neighborhood restaurants that have limited budgets and they're often retrofitting a space that was something else and it's got big windows and tiles and stuff, it's going to be louder. Mm-hmm. And yeah, if they don't have the budget to make a change to that, that's understandable.
But if you could design the perfect quiet restaurant, what would it be? And you can dream big. You have all the money in the world. We'll find you an investor.
All the money in the world. Okay, I definitely want a booth, or I want some booths, some round tables, because I think the shape of the table matters to see the people that you're with, and it's easier to hear that way. Booths with velvet or leather or whatever that sort of absorbs some noise are great. I do like it when I can still kind of see out on what's kind of buzzy without being in that loud environment. So I would love for my architect and interior designer, since I have so much budget for this, to have that kind of space. The old Tanceau was like this, in that you had those little booths and these little dividers, but you could still kind of look out at how pretty the restaurant was and see what was going on. I went to Abba last night, which is not quiet, but we were in a booth and we could hear each other fine. We had no problem talking to each other, but then we were looking out at that whole thing with all the trees and the light and so many people waiting to get a table. I mean, it definitely was not quiet, but it felt like we could hear each other pretty well for how busy it was, how high the ceilings was. And out, and it has all these plants in there and chandeliers. And so my guess is that they have designed it that way on purpose. But I liked that vibe a lot.
All right. Well, to end, let's give a fair warning to everybody. What is the loudest restaurant that you've ever been to in Nashville? So people can stay away or go and enjoy the vibe. You know, I mean, people are out there who enjoy a loud meal. So I don't want to poo-poo on their parade.
Yeah, if you want that kind of
Yes.
vibey. Okay, I think that Fonda in 12 South is really, really loud. Again, I think that's part of the vibe there. They do such interesting things with food.
And their wine list is unbelievable.
But I do think it's loud. Do you think it's loud?
It's loud. Yes, very loud.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of the loudest place we've been to recently, but still had, like, we love Green Hills Grill. It's just, we've been going there forever. We went recently over the holidays for Thanksgiving and brought the whole family, older people, my uncle who's 85. And it was so loud, but we kind of just like stopped talking and just enjoyed each other's presence. And the food was so good that it was fine. So there are instances where it's so loud that it's fine to just enjoy the food and not talk to your family. Hey, if you don't want to talk to your family during the holidays.
We should make a list of those.
We should.
Places where you can go out and be together but not have to hear each other.
Yeah. Well, cool. Thank you again for joining us. I hope to see you at a quiet restaurant, Margaret.
Let's do it. Let's make a plan.
Let's make a plan. That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Nashville neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell your friends? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our CityCast Nashville newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Toodles!